Nick Fury here, talking about UFC 329. And I want to take a moment to thank you for subscribing and joining this channel, following me on this journey as I do what I love to do best, which is talk fights. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I hold a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I've trained MMA for over a decade, and while I'm not a fighter or a ranked fighter, I have fought competitively before in the past in point fighting. I know a little bit about martial arts, about training, and about the fight game. And I just like to share my thoughts and opinions with you, and wanted to bring a perspective into the arena that I don't see reflected in today's other podcasts and channels. I don't want to be some personality, but I just want to talk candidly about the fighters, my predictions, help you make better decisions, help you place better bets, help you enjoy the events that we all love in the UFC. So let's get into it. All right, we have a historic UFC 329 following the historic UFC 250 held at the White House South Lawn. What an incredible event that was. Just when you thought the UFC couldn't do any better, they hit us with the return of the notorious Conor McGregor. Can you believe it? I personally thought that we would never see McGregor back in the octagon. Following that ankle injury against fighting Dustin Poirier, number 3, you see an ankle injury like that, you know, I'm old enough to remember Joe Theismann in the Washington Redskins. His ankle got snapped by Lawrence Taylor, number 56 in the New York Giants. That was the last time we ever saw Joe Theismann out on the football field. So when I saw this injury from McGregor, a clean break in the ankle, I thought, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a wrap on your fight career. Well, what do I know? I guess McGregor has the fortitude to heal up, keep training, and he loves the game so much that he wants to get back in there and test himself against the best of the world, giving none other than the blessed Max Holloway another opportunity to get back that win. Early on in their career, they fought, and now Holloway gets to get another shot at the notorious Conor McGregor, and I think Max has truly evolved as a fighter. He's sharper than ever, even though he's coming off of losses against Topuria. He had that amazing knockout win against Gaethje, who is the current champ. And he's still in the top 5. He's still a contender. He's still dangerous. And while I think Max is at the downhill side of his career in terms of his prime, he's still sharper than ever, and he has a high fight IQ, a high output. He stayed sharp. He stayed in the game, and he's, I would say, probably more battle-tested than McGregor at this point, more rigorous than McGregor in terms of his cardio, his heart. We'll see if the chin gets tested. You know that McGregor straight left hand always finds its target, so it'll be interesting to see how Max handles what Conor does best, which is striking. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup, and everybody wants to see, where is Conor at? Is he going to be slow? I mean, they're fighting at 170, 175. They're fighting at welterweight, which is unusual for both fighters. Both guys usually cut down to like 155, which is crazy at the height that they're at. But they're really fighting at their natural weight. So we're going to see who's the naturally more nimble fighter, the naturally faster striker, and who can mitigate range and distance better and set up their attacks better. You know, it's such an interesting matchup. In addition to that, we have a stacked fight card. And again, the UFC is just bringing the heat on this one. After the White House, I thought we would have a little relaxation moment, but they're not pulling off the gas at all, delivering on that Paramount deal. I have to believe that Paramount is like ecstatic about everything Dana White's doing for their company. Paramount has just been win after win. So this is really cool. It's also awesome to not have to pay these exorbitant pay-per-views every time you want to watch a fight. You can tune into Paramount Plus and get all the action. But what I'd like to talk about for 329 is really getting into the main card. Let's look at this main card. The top 5. We have King Green versus the up-and-coming Terrence McKinney. Very dangerous fighter. Very dangerous striker. After that, we have Brandon Royval, who we know is a G, who fought Joshua Van in probably one of the most exciting fights I've seen this year. It was just a knuckle-dragging beatdown by both guys. So much heart in that fight. Josh Van edging out the win against Royval, but Royval, man, what a performance, what heart. This dude is the real deal. And it's interesting to me that he is not the favorite, facing Loner Kavanagh, another up-and-coming killer from England. Very interesting fighter, very versatile striker and grappler. It'll be interesting to see how Royval matches up against this newcomer, being a little bit more of a veteran in his division. After that, we have Mario Bautista going against the Sandman, Corey Sandhagen, ranked at number 4. I'm really waiting for Sandhagen to face off against O'Malley. Coming off the win against Zahabi, O'Malley is definitely in pole position for the title shot, fighting Petr Yan. But I think Sandhagen would be an excellent title defense should O'Malley get that belt. Following the Sandhagen versus Bautista, we have Benoit Saint Denis versus none other than Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, also from England. 2 English fighters on this card represent. And Paddy the Baddy coming off a fight against the champion in which he showed a tremendous amount of heart, but just wasn't able to match up against the veteran experience and the onslaught, the savagery, the striking of current champion Justin Gaethje. However, Benoit Saint Denis presents a new skill set and a different form of threats that I don't think Paddy has faced before. And Benoit is the favorite for this match. And then we have our main event, Conor McGregor versus Max Blessed Holloway. Max coming in at a betting favorite, -205 right now I'm seeing on the screen. We'll see if those odds change as we get closer to fight. And Max is definitely the favorite for this fight. But let's start at the top. Here are my predictions. And I don't want to go too long-winded. I'm not going to break down every single thing about every fighter on this card, but I just want to give you the insights that I see as a martial artist, as someone who's a lifelong fan of UFC going back to the early 90s. I've been watching this sport forever, and I really like to make these picks and hope that some of my analysis might help you out. Let's start off with our first matchup of the main card, UFC 303. Starting off with King Bobby Green versus Terrence McKinney. And this looks like a really fun starter, guys. This looks like it's going to be a bit of a banger. When we look at Bobby Green, styles make fights, right? And when we look at Bobby Green, we see a dude that just comes in, hands down, talking smack, loosey-goosey, ready to throw hands, ready to mix it up, ready to hit those takedowns, ready to go for the submission. Like, he's got it all, really. He does. Maybe not elite level, but for sure where he's at right now, like, Bobby Green is in full stride. Coming off of 3 wins against, Jeremy Stevens, shut him down, trying to get back into the UFC, coming off BKFC, faces Bobby Green, gets shut down. Before that, the rising star, Daniel Zellhuber, good looking, tall stud of a fighter, gets stopped by Bobby Green, pretty much the upset. And before that, a couple losses to Mauricio Ruffi and Paddy Pimblett. So naturally, we can see why those guys are on the rise. They had already gotten through the King Green. But really, looking at how styles make fights, we look at this opponent, this up-and-comer making a name for himself, but still struggling through the ranks, Terrence McKinney. A very athletic, versatile MMA fighter. Likes to strike, likes to mix it up, not afraid to wrestle as well. He's got a couple submissions. So he can grapple, he can mix it up. We see a submission win over Borischev and also Eric Gonzalez way back in 22. So this guy's got, 4 years since winning fights on submission. He's still training, so it's like, he's improved by now in the last 4 years. So he's got that ground game. And he's a very athletic and versatile striker, but he also throws caution to the wind. He mixes it up. He's got a ton of first round finishes. I think overall, it's just going to make for an exciting opener. Bobby Green's going to come in hands down, throwing hands. McKinney's going to come forward, throwing hands. Somebody's going to get clipped on this one, guys. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking first round knockout or TKO going to McKinney. I think he'll be a little bit more precise, a little stronger, a little younger, a little fresher than Green. Green with that hands down style. I think he might get clipped. I think he might get stung. You never know. With Bobby, anything is possible because he always comes in there super confident and ready to fight the way that he fights. And when you come in like that, who knows what can happen. So I'm excited to see this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, following King Green and Terrence McKinney, we have an amazing flyweight bout between number 4 ranked Brandon Royval and Lonnie Kavanaugh, number 6. And his name is like Lone but they pronounce it Lonnie. And this guy is very interesting. He's the favorite, negative 220 to Royval's plus 180. And I think this Kavanaugh has got something special. We saw him fight against Brandon Moreno and just put on an incredible fight against the former champion of the flyweight division. Hats off to Brandon Moreno, tough as nails, because Kavanaugh totally Aldo'd his front leg and just laid on some Topuria level combinations that were just impressive. Like Kavanaugh showing the full range of his MMA kit. Like, really good footwork. You know, first of all, just the build for the division. Muscular, robust, good height, good weight for the division, shredded, stud of a fighter. Has the striking, has the footwork, lays on the combinations, like just can put on the gas when it comes down to it, and has some really smooth setups. We saw him set up some sweet head kicks against Moreno, showing that he's thinking out there, he's moving. He's not just move forward and use my athleticism to overwhelm my opponent, but actually set shots up. Bit of a fight IQ there. Also, some decent grappling. Not a lot of submission wins on his record, but he definitely has one. And, you know, nowadays, the new generation of fighters that we're seeing, they're just so well-rounded. Really, it's the athleticism that keeps them on the feet. And then we're starting to see really more precise strikers like Kavanaugh. So Royval, tough as nails. I mean, we saw him in probably one of the best fights of the year against Josh Van, the current champion, current flyweight standout. Royval and Van put on an incredible fight of the year level performance, like maybe even Hall of Fame fight performance. And Royval is as tough as they come, very well rounded, a little more lanky, little thinner build, a little taller, lankier, kind of more like an O'Malley style body. Good grappler, not as crisp on the feet with his hands. I think Kavanaugh's the better striker. I think Kavanaugh moves really well and is slightly more athletic. However, Royval has the experience and he definitely has the grit to get a win over Kavanaugh. However, my pick for this fight is Lonnie Kavanaugh. 10-1, coming off a loss last August against Charles Johnson. KO in the second round, or TKO. And then bounce back with a decision win over the former champion. So we're really interested to see what Lonnie Kavanaugh is going to bring to the main card on this fight. Because, like, here you go. Here's your opportunity. You can fight a former title contender and get that highlight finish on him. It's going to just push you up into the top 5 with so much momentum. You'll be fighting Josh Van before long. Another great fight. And yeah, that's my pick. That's my pick is Lonnie Kavanaugh. I'm going to go with TKO in the 3rd round. That's what I think. I think it won't go to the cards. I think he'll get it done. I think he's going to put it together. I think he's going to come and bring the heat to Royval. And Royval is game enough to enter into an exchange where I think Kavanaugh, who has such great head movement and such great footwork, is going to capitalize on those exchanges. Now let's see what happens. You guys let me know what you think. In the next matchup, we have Corey the Sandman Sanhagen taking on, for the second time in his career, Mario Bautista. And this is a really interesting rematch because these guys faced off back in 2019 with Sanhagen coming up with a win by submission. And Mario Bautista has a number of submission wins to his name, so that really is saying something about the Sandman's skills on the ground. Like, This guy's deadly. He's taking out top-level guys with strong submission game. We see both of these fighters losing to Umar Nurmagomedov, which signals that they struggle a little bit with fighters that are a little bit more well-rounded and can really mix it up well. We saw Sandhagen lose to Dvalishvili. Looking at Sandhagen's stats, we see a 45% striking accuracy. That to me isn't a real high level of accuracy. It means he's throwing shots, but he's not putting them together. We know he's got the flying knee. We know he's got the spinning back fists. He's got these slick, sort of angled shots, but he's not a real traditional striker. He's not meat and potatoes, 1, 2, 3 move. He doesn't have that strong boxing background that I think makes his strikes crisp and really puts opponents in danger. I think he's athletic. He's good everywhere. He keeps the pressure on, and you have to respect his ground game, which tends to keep his fights on the feet. So by respecting the Sandman's ground game, you're keeping the fight on the feet, and you're having to duke it out with him. So this is where I think Bautista is going to be particularly successful. When we look at Bautista's record, we got 17 wins, 3 losses. We got 3 wins by knockout and 7 by submission, which means you also have to respect his ground game. He's got 5 first-round finishes. He may not be the biggest puncher, but he's not somebody you want to let catch you clean. His accuracy edges a little bit higher than Sandman. A little bit more striking accuracy, 5.3 significant strikes landed per minute. From 22 to 25, racking up like 8 back-to-back wins. His last loss was only to Umar Nurmagomedov, who's absolutely a standout in the division. Picked up a win back in February against Oliveira via submission. So it looks like this fight between Sandman and Bautista, it's going to be on the feet. Both of these guys have an amazing ground game. Even though Corey got the job done back in 2019, that was 6-7 years ago. So both fighters have evolved now, and it's kind of like the main event. Like, let's see what 5 years in the UFC has done to each guy, and can Mario Bautista get that win back? These guys are both top 5 bantamweights, and I think Sugar Sean or Piotr Jan could be facing one of these guys next, no doubt. But let's see what happens. My pick for this matchup, I think Bautista's going to get that win. I think he's going to get it back. I think he's got a game plan this time for the Sandman. He's not going to get caught in the submission. The experience has grown. I say Bautista by decision. It's a 3-round fight. So let's see what happens. From there, we're moving on against the Frenchman, the Benoit Saint Denis, versus the Englishman, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And when we're looking at records, very evenly matched in terms of experience. Both have within 20 or so wins and a similar amount of losses. And as far as the stats, relatively the same in height and in reach. So we don't have a really big striking range advantage from either one of these fighters. But when I look at Benoit Saint Denis, I see a guy that's just a little bit more bite your mouthpiece, go forward, create a scramble, and come up with the win. He's just a little bit dirtier. Paddy likes to stay on the outside. He likes to use that jab. However, he keeps his chin a bit high. And this is indicative of English fighters. They tend to stand tall and pull their chin up into the air. I think it's kind of a cultural style that they have versus that traditional boxing, chin down, shoulders up, Philly shell, what have you. I think Paddy, there's some fundamental things that he does that allows him to be a little more hittable than he should be. However, what he relies on strongly is his amazing grappling skills, right? We've seen him submit so many guys. And when he gets you wrapped up, you got trouble. However, I think that's where Saint Denis, here comes the defense. I think it's where he's going to know what to do in those situations, and he'll balance out that grappling prowess that Pimblett has, be able to keep the fight on the feet, and we're going to see, let the best man win. However, I think Paddy coming off that win, off the loss with Justin Gaethje, he's had the brighter lights on him. He's been in there with the elite legends of the game. He knows what it feels like. He knows what it means to dig down and be brought to the dark places where you have to just go into your soul to pull out that win. And I think when Paddy is tested, we've seen his resilience. We've seen that he's tough. And I think he believes in himself even more now that he's been in there with Gaethje. I think the psychology really plays a factor there. I think the fact that he has so much self-belief, so much star power, that really adds a lot to the way that a fighter fights, the confidence that you go in there with. Now, recently we saw that work against Ilia Topuria, where Ilia tried to just throw caution to the wind, march Gaethje down and knock him out in the first round, do something historic. You know, that confidence didn't serve him well there. That's what we would call overconfidence. But when I look at Paddy, he's been humbled recently. He's been beaten up, he's been beaten, and now he's coming back. And that shows the mental fortitude in this fighter. That shows that, man, he is about that life. He is a real deal grinder. He is a real deal fighter. He truly believes in himself and he wants that top spot. He's been moving himself up the rankings, and now he's going to have to fight a scrappy, well-rounded Frenchman who is definitely going to bring the fight to him. We saw Saint Denis knock out Beneil Dariush in the first round. Dariush got a little too sloppy, a little too crazy, overconfident, opened himself up, and Saint Denis delivered a TKO. So, you know, he has to be respected. Paddy's going to have to take his time. I think if Paddy takes his time, and I do believe this is a 3-round fight, I think we see the baddie getting it in the 3rd round. That's my prediction. And now let's move on to the main event of the evening. The notorious Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. And we've seen so many predictions for this fight. I mean, we have a very veteran Max, who is the favorite here, -205 against a +170 Conor. We have not seen Conor in the octagon for a number of years now, coming off that really brutal ankle snap against Poirier, number 3. And everybody's wondering, like, does Conor still got it? And personally, my vote on this fight is it's going to McGregor. I think you don't come back from an injury like that without a serious amount of self-evaluation. I get it. He's been in the media. Everybody talks about, you know, messing with a little bit of that booger sugar and having a little fun in the movies, roaming around Hollywood, getting into all sorts of headline trouble. But a guy with as much star power as Conor McGregor, he's one of the only guys in the UFC who's a true household name. And that comes with a lot of limelight. It comes with a lot of cameras on you, and people watch this guy's every move. What we're not seeing is the amount of training he's doing. We're not seeing the amount of rehab, the amount of mental work to climb back into the game at this level against someone who is a true veteran, who's also faced you before, Max Holloway. You got to be ready mentally as well as physically. And I really believe in Conor's skill. When we look at Conor and how he's able to take angles and deliver shots that land clean, there's really no one better. If he hadn't have snapped his angle when he was fighting Poirier, who knows who would have won that fight? Because he was touching Poirier up before that happened. And when it comes to Max, you know, he's amazing. He's good everywhere, not so much on the ground as he is on the feet. You know, he wants to be a boxer. He wants to duke it out. But that's exactly what Conor's hoping he's going to do. Conor with that reach advantage. I do believe he has a reach advantage here. Let's take a look at that. We definitely see a 74-inch to a 69-inch reach advantage, a 5-inch reach advantage for someone with the IQ and skill of Conor McGregor, who we've seen in the ring with one of the best to ever do it, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, that's a level up right there. And to be able to have that sort of advantage against someone like Holloway, who will need to close that distance and have a plan, a game plan for Conor's amazing ability to counter you and counter you well, like we saw against Jose Aldo, the timing, the precision, the power. Conor's got those big shoulders, those big biceps, big upper body. His punches deliver power. We've seen it time and time and again where he's just able to starch dudes. Holloway, we don't see that quite as much. We see he's like a volume striker. He wears you down. He motors from round 1 to round 5. I mean, the dude could fight 10 rounds. He's a cardio champion. He's as game as they come from the Aina, from Waianae, Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii, so I know what these boys are about. They are scrappers all the way. And Holloway's got that island heart, and, you know, he ain't no punk, that's for sure. He's not going to back down from a good old fist fight. We know Holloway, point at the mat, meet me in the middle. We know that he's as game as they come. But I think at this level with Conor, you're dealing with elite level martial arts, elite level boxing, and you got to respect the hands. I think the only way for Holloway to win this fight is to really mix it up, is to use full MMA. Don't just box with him. Grapple him, push him back to the cage, rustle him a bit, tire him out, make him stand up, take him down, make him have to get up, tire him out. I think that's his best strategy against McGregor, who's been out of the octagon for a while, who probably isn't ready for the pace of the fight, for the overall show, because he's been out of the game for a while. Now, finally being back in this spot, I think Max will be a little bit more centered, a little bit calmer going into the octagon. But where he's going to get the advantage is working on that cardio with Conor. Hit those body shots, hit those body kicks, do some wrestling, and then start to piece him up on the feet. Don't come at him when he's fresh, or Conor's going to take those angles, he's going to line up that left hand, and he's going to send you into a dark place when he lands those shots. And so my overall pick on this fight is Conor McGregor. I still think Conor gets it done within 2 rounds. I think either KO, TKO. I don't see this going to decision. I don't see this going 5 rounds. If it gets outside of round 3, I'll have to give it to Max because I think he's going to have the cardio and he's going to be able to press Conor. And we see Conor wilt a little bit in the later rounds of the fight. So overall pick, I'm looking at McGregor to get the job done within 2 rounds. If it goes into 3, 4, 5 championship rounds, we see Holloway edging out that win. Tell me what you guys think. Let's meet down in the comments. Let's chat down in the comments and see what you got to say. That's my read on the fight. I hope you've enjoyed this commentary, and I'm going to continue to keep bringing it as much as I can. Thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe to the channel if you have not, as it helps me out, helps me do this. And, you know, this is just what I love to do, guys. So thank you. Peace out. Stay blessed.